glad my buddy Mitch was able to make it tonight. We don't get to see him much on Wednesdays. Um, but since his wife is suffering, he's not traveling for the next couple of weeks. Uh, so how's she doing? How's she feeling? Awesome. I seen Emily. Where you at? How are you feeling, baby? Good. Brother Ronnie Stroud is with us tonight. Everybody say, hey, Brother Ronnie. For those of you that don't know, Ronnie is our missionary to the Gideons. I don't know what his position title is, but I know it's way up there with the Gideon organization. And he and Brother Greg Parham are lifelong friends. And so we're thankful Brother Ronnie came down from South Carolina to be with us tonight. He's going to talk to us about witnessing. He's going to talk to us about giving Bibles. We've give out probably close to 400 Bibles, maybe more than that, just this year alone. At least how many of them is in a case? 100, 100. At least 100 of them are because of him. He sent us several cases of Bibles, and we're thankful for that. And that's something that we've really enjoyed doing. We've got the car show coming up. We're actually going to have a tent out at the car show, and our youth and young adults are going to be giving out Bibles at our car show. A lot of cool stuff coming up. And Brother Ronnie's going to talk to you a lot about that. What am I looking at? Come here, Caitlin. So we're thankful for Brother Ron. We're thankful for what God is doing around here. I'm glad to see Shay and Robin tonight. I love Shay and Robin, and got that angel with them. Brings up the group average. Y'all should take her everywhere you go. Makes Shay look a whole lot better. Amen. No, we love Shay and Robin, and we're thankful to see them with us tonight. Give me a couple prayer requests, just a couple. We're going to give Ronnie as much time as we can give him. Anything pressing, anything big. I know your mom.
Fine, they'll start the reconstructive surgery the following week. So now we're just praying for healing and that there's no complications to move forward with the next surgery.
Awesome. Anything else pressing? Yep. Oh, no. Okay. For sure. Remember that family. Wasn't it good Sunday? Did y'all enjoy? We have a good day Sunday. I had a great day Sunday. Let's continue to remember this place and what God is doing here, and I'm humbled and honored just to take a teeny part of it. And I love to watch the Lord move. Watching lives change, Brother Ronnie, never gets old. Never gets old, and I am thrilled to death with what God is doing. Come here, baby, and let's read that before we turn it over to Ronnie.
Okay, so some of the ladies have gotten together and organized a meal train for Avery and Emily. Most of you know Emily has been put on bed rest, which is modified tonight because she's here. But on bed rest to keep baby boy in there for just a little bit longer. So we have a sign-up sheet if anybody feels led to want to put something together for them for the next few weeks. There's some options of stuff on here that they eat because Avery's not picky at all. So this will be in the back. So tonight or Sunday, if y'all want to look at it, please do.
My favorite vegetables on here too, though, mac and cheese. So listen, let's do this. Brother Greg Parham, I'm going to let you stand. Take us to the Lord in prayer and ask his blessings on the night. Let's turn it over to Brother Ronnie after that, and y'all give excuse me. Brother Ronnie, it's all yours.
Well, thank you all of you very much. I'm humbled to be here. When we first talked to the pastor, we was talking about, I think something about my prison ministry. I go into prisons once a month, sometimes twice a month, sometimes more than that, strictly to witness and to give out Bibles. I'm going to tell you a few stories tonight, but I'm going to go back to a little testimony to tell you what brought me here tonight. As a young person, and that's what I'm speaking to mainly. I got saved when I was 11 years old through the ministry of a great uncle of mine. My parents didn't go to church. My aunts and uncles didn't go to church. Nobody in the family went to church. This one great uncle was my grandmother's brother. Good Christian man. But every Sunday, or not every Sunday, but every other Sunday we go to his house for a big dinner, like families used to do back in the old days. And he would get me to the side and start telling me Bible stories. And I was impressed by that. The house I lived in, there was a church about a half a block down the road. And we didn't have air conditioning, but in the summertime, I could lay in my bed on Sunday morning and hear all the cars going by. And it was the good Lord working on me. I didn't know it at the time. But I just had this desire to walk down to that church and hear more stories like my uncle told me. So I got up that morning, walked in the kitchen. I can still remember my mother's, the shock on her face. She was fixing breakfast, and I said, I think I'm going to go to church today. What do you wear to church? And she looked at me kind of puzzled, and I said, she said, you going where else? I'm going to church down the road. Who are you going with? I said, I don't know. I'm just going down there. Anyway, we went to the closet and got my best blue jeans, which back in those days you had the knees right up, and you had knees patched, and a dirty pair of tennis shoes. I did not have church clothes. But I walked down to that church, and they had an old city bus to run around Camden. But on Sunday mornings, the man on that bus went to that church, and he parked his bus in the parking lot to use as Sunday school for the junior boys. That's what my age group was. And I walked across the pine thicket, and he looked at me and said, where are you going? Something like that. I said, I'm going in there. And he said, do you know what you're going for? I said, I want to hear some Bible stories. He said, how old are you? And I told him. He said, well, you're in my Sunday school. And by the way, my name is Alexander Archibald Alfred. Okay. And then he said, Popeye. I said, what? He said, Popeye. He was an older fella, no hair, no teeth, and he could roll his lips in his gums and squinch his eye, and he liked Popeye the Sailor Man. I know y'all don't know who that is, but it was an old cartoon character. And that's what he went by. And he was so good with junior boys. He came to my house and told me about the Bible. And I knew that through his teaching and teaching my uncle, I needed Jesus Christ in my life. I didn't know anything about him. And church, you got young people here today. I know y'all do a good job. I know this pastor, y'all do a good job with these young people. But I'm talking to young people tonight because for years, I went to church. I loved it. I got saved. I went on Sunday night. I didn't want to go down in front of a big crowd on Sunday morning. Anyway, and I got baptized. I want to make sure my uncle was there for the baptism. And it was great until I got in the Marine Corps. And then things changed a little bit. I was still a Christian. I still went to a church service every time I had a chance. I don't care where we were in Vietnam or on the side of a mountain or on a ship or wherever. I still loved my Lord. I still read my Bible. Ran across my first atheist in the Marine Corps. When he came by one night to visit me and saw me reading the Bible, and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm reading the Bible. He said, you don't believe in that stuff, do you? I said, I sure do. And he started telling me why he didn't believe. I didn't know enough about witnessing back then to even have a conversation with him. And I regret that. I regret that. I'm not blaming my church because I know this church is going to train these young people about witnessing. Young folks, you're going to run across people in your life that you know are not saved. And you're going to want them to have that same experience with Christ that you've experienced. And I hope you've experienced it. Everybody here tonight is going to have that experience, that chance for that experience, but I'm going to teach everyone here tonight how to witness. You need to witness. That is a commandment of the Lord Jesus Christ. Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel. And he wasn't talking to just the disciples. He was talking to all of us. I made a comment. Well, I wasn't going to go this direction, but I need to explain some things. I owe my life to a man sitting in the back, Greg Barham. We were in combat. We saw a lot of action. I had watched, my squad was supposed to go across this rice paddy one day. We'd been on point. And one thing you don't want to be is on point, because then you got to look out for booby traps, and usually the first ones get sniped at. All kind of mess. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that. But to come off this hillside, and you're going to go down to the bottom and cross this rice paddy, and I'd usually put myself behind my first fire team. My fire team was 4 men. And I'd get behind them so I could see where they're going and guide their direction. But the lieutenant called me on the radio and told me to spread my men out the base of the hill, that Delta Company's coming around, they're going to take point. And I didn't know a whole lot about praising God back then, but I said, thank you, Lord. It's going to be good to fall back to the back and not worry about booby traps. Anyway, we spread out. One of my buddies came by from another company, and he saw me standing up there watching and spreading my men out. And he came up beside of me and we started talking. That's the last time I ever saw him. Anyway, this Delta Company come out, and their first man started going across this rice paddy. Dried up rice paddy, wasn't no water in it, and he got shot down. And everybody got down. Then they shot the man again. He hollered, and another man tried to get to him, and they killed him. If anybody's ever been in combat, you know when somebody takes a fatal shot. They fall differently, they land differently, and they don't move anymore. Everybody got down. We're trying to figure out where the sniper was. Another man got up and run. They shot him down. He was dead too. Watched 3 men die that morning. Tore me up. We started lobbing them 79 rounds over a man's head. I won't get into more detail about that. One of my men got hit shortly after that. Then, probably 12 days later, it was my turn. I got shot down in the open. The first thing I told the radio man was to get the men behind some bushes over there, get them out of the line of fire, I'll crawl over there. He said, no, I'm not going to leave you. So he picked me up and tried to carry me off the field. And then both of us got shot. A bullet went through my arm and his back. And I loved the man dearly. He tried to save my life. And he called me up sometime about 2014 apologizing. And I said, what are you apologizing about? He said, I know you're mad at me. I know I ran the wrong way. I said, man, you got shot in the back. You wasn't going the wrong way. The wrong way would have been toward the enemy. Okay. And he said, well, I just want you to forgive me. I said, I'll forgive you. There's nothing to forgive you for except for one thing. You did drop me on my head. Okay. But nonetheless, we lay out there a while, and the man kept shooting us, and I tried to make my determination on right where the sniper was, and I turned my head to him. And this is one prayer that the good Lord never answered, and I am so thankful he didn't. I turned my head to him, so I'm not going to sit here and let him just riddle my body with bullets. When he hits me this time, it's going to take me out. Now, folks, I want you to understand what I'm getting ready to tell you. I knew that in just a matter of minutes, I'm going to meet my Lord face to face. I had no fear of going to the other place because I wasn't going to. Thank you. I had no fear of going away from Christ. I knew I was going to be with him. But you know what? I was ashamed. I was ashamed that I was going to meet my Lord, and I had not done anything for him. I had not witnessed to people. I don't know that I was ever taught that in my Sunday school class. We talked about Bible and, Sunday school lessons, but talking about witnessing is something we didn't do. And I was ashamed. So I didn't pray this prayer. Oh, when that bullet goes through my helmet, let it be quick and painless. Thank the good Lord he didn't answer that prayer, or I wouldn't be with you today. But that thought has always come back to me. Let me take you back to another time when I was 13 years old. And there was a young man in my training union class. That's on Sunday nights we'd go to training union like a night Sunday school, and then we'd go to preaching service. And there was a young man in my Sunday school and my training union that I really didn't like because he had a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't joyfully and cheerily. He didn't cut up with a lot of people. I just didn't like him because he had just had that chip. He didn't have nothing kind to say to anybody. So I avoided him. So at the end of training, my friend and I would go out and sit in the car, and we'd talk about girls and football and hunting and girls. And we'd talk about baseball games, school, and girls. Somewhere down the line, I think we talked about girls. But this young boy come out and got in the back seat of the car, and I didn't like it. I didn't say anything to him. So my friend and I, we kept talking, then it got quiet, and the young boy in the back said, "What do I do to be saved?" I said, John 3:16? More like a question than a statement. He said, "Well," I said, "I'll tell you what. Tonight when the preacher gives the invitation at the end of the service, and I will walk down the front with you. We'll walk with you all the way." The young man did. He walked down the night and gave his heart to Christ. That should have told me something right then, right? It didn't take. A year after that, his mother found out why he had that chip on his shoulder. His mother and father were going through a bitter, terrible divorce. He felt abandoned by his father and never saw him again. The mother moved him to Florida. And then the word came back to us at church that the young man in Florida stepped off a curb one day in the path of a car, was run over and lost his life. That's a sad story, except for this part. I'm going to see him again. Oh, he's in heaven now. Not because of anything I did. And that's that part I regret.